What's up, NBA fans? It's your boy Mike here. Today, I'm going to be doing something I don't think I've ever done before. This is a first for me, alright? So I'll try my best at it, but I'm probably still going to slip up sometimes. Just letting you know, I'm making this video a somewhat positive video about the New York Knicks this season. That's right, this is not me roasting them. This is not just going to be 5 to 10 minutes of me saying how trash this organization is and how they're garbage and how their fans just must be pitied because, their team sucks butt. Obviously, those things are still true. However, the team has been pretty decent this year. They are currently 6th in the Eastern Conference, and they're 7-8 overall. Not a great record by any means, but a good enough record that I can look at this team and actually talk about them like they are a semi-respectable NBA basketball team, which they kind of are this season. So going into this video, guys, I just want to talk about the Knicks. I want to talk about how they've done so well and whether I believe they can keep it up and actually have a shot at the Eastern Conference playoffs. So let's get right into it. The Knicks are currently 7-8. Once again, not an amazing record by any means, but it is good enough this early in the season to currently make them 6th in the Eastern Conference, and certainly better than I expected them to be at the start of the season. Now, their offense is really sus this year. It's not good. 27th out of 30, not a good offensive rating whatsoever, but their defense has been 8th in the NBA, and I think that is exactly what the Knicks front office wanted Tom Thibodeau to do. They wanted him to come in, make the team play hard on defense, make them play hard in general, and have a good defensive rating. And so far, it has been working very, very well. Now, the offense, like I said, it's sus, okay? Thibodeau has never been known as a great offensive coach, and he has never been a great three-point offensive coach, especially, which you can see with this team. They are 30th in the league in three-point attempts. Honestly, I can't... Wow, that was a voice crack right there. I'm sorry you all had to hear that. As I was saying, honestly, I can't blame Thibodeau much for that, though. Maybe they shouldn't be dead last in the league in threes attempted, but looking at this roster, this is not a roster with many good three-point shooters. Barrett isn't really one, Randall isn't really one, Mitchell Robinson is a non-existent three-point shooter, Payton's not a three-point shooter. Austin Rivers generally isn't much of a three-point shooter, but he is shooting 40% this season, which is pretty decent. Kevin Knox, not normally a three-point shooter. Manuel Quickly's a rookie. Nerlens Noel doesn't shoot threes. Obi Toppin doesn't shoot threes. So, long story short, they don't have a lot of guys who are good at shooting threes on this team. However, in percentage, they are 18th. So even though they're not taking many of them, they are at least making a decent amount of them. Not a great amount, but a decent amount, okay? Kind of like the Spurs the last few years. They don't take a lot of threes, but they do make the ones they take. Now, let's look at this team as a whole, because part of the team's success has been Thibodeau's coaching, and in fact, I'm going to talk about that a little bit first. He has come in and done exactly what he was supposed to do, alright? The team is playing extremely hard, especially on the defensive end. They come out every night playing like they really want to win, and that is what Thibodeau is known for. Now, he hasn't necessarily succeeded in this, specifically on the Timberwolves. He was not exactly successful in his methods, but he was known for this on the Bulls, and he looks like he's going to be known for it once again now that he's on the Knicks. The team plays really hard on defense, and it's not like they have a bunch of great defenders. Mitchell Robinson's been great this year. They got some decent ones, like Robinson once again. Payton's pretty good. Noel's a decent, defensive backup center, but they've got a lot of guys who I would say are really playing above their talent on the defensive end. Randall and Barrett have both been decent. Bullock, same thing. Kevin Knox hasn't even been terrible on defense this year. The team just looks all around solid on that end because they really, really give it 110% while they are on the court, and I think a big part of that is thanks to Tom Thibodeau. He has reshaped the culture and the atmosphere of this team, and that's exactly what the Knicks freaking need. I think any Knicks fan will agree that the team's culture and atmosphere the last few seasons was not exactly the greatest. So, let's look at the players individually. First of all, you got to talk about Julius Randle. The man has been a beast. 23, 11, and 7 this season, along with a steal. He's putting this up on 50% from the field, 36% from 3, which is pretty decent for him, 78% from the free throw line. He's playing out of his mind. The man's had multiple triple-doubles already. He honestly looks very similar to Domantas Sabonis this season, which is crazy to say because last year Julius Randle was a meme for all the spin moves he made. I guess Siakam took that from him and he realized, hey, I guess I can be a good player now. Randle has been great. I'm not sure if he's going to be an all-star. I would say it's still just a little bit too early for me to say Randle is going to keep this up, but if the Knicks keep winning, I don't see any reason Randle won't be an all-star this year. He's playing fantastic. Clearly, in my opinion, the best player on this team, only being close to Alec Burks, coming off the bench. Now, the man's only played 3 games, which is really sad, so it's a tiny sample size. And that's actually more impressive to this team's offense. I think they will have a better offense when he and Obi Toppin, who has also only played 4 games, once those guys get back. I don't know much about Toppin. I don't watch college a lot. Obviously, he was kind of like a, he was seen as like a big forward. He crashes the glass a lot on offense. Not a great shooter or anything. He looked like a solid player, though. I am excited to see him come back. Alec Burks, however, was beastin' in his first 3 games. Tiny sample size, so take it with a grain of salt. But the man was shooting 50, 67, and 90. Okay? Those are his numbers to go with 21 points, 4 and 4. Playing great, really hope he comes back at 100%. Kinda miss him on the Sixers, although we have Shake Milton, so who the hell needs him? Now, looking at the rest of the team, the other main guy is RJ Barrett, 17 points a game, 40% from the field is not very good, and 23% from 3. He's not shooting well this season. He's not shooting well whatsoever. However, you can see that the pieces are there for him to be a very good player. Also, he's been a decent rebounder, 7 rebounds a game, just something to throw out there. 3 assists with 2 turnovers isn't god-awful for a young guard. RJ Barrett is clearly more of a slasher, however, he's just not the guy who takes jump shots, and because this team is not a good 3-point shooting team, it's really not maximizing his talent. That said, RJ Barrett is having a pretty solid start to his 2nd season. He's looking pretty good. I just don't think this team is built right now to fit his strengths, and that's fine because he's under contract for the next several seasons. They have time. They'll probably screw it up because they're the Knicks, but they do have time to build this team better around Barrett. Right now, he's basically just getting reps in this year. Mitchell Robinson, on the other hand, has been, compared to his standards at least, phenomenal this season. 30 minutes a game almost, and only 3 fouls. In fact, slightly less than 3 fouls. For Mitchell Robinson, that is amazing. That is what Knicks fans have been praying for. 9 points isn't anything crazy, 9 points and 8 rebounds, but the dude is still shooting 66% from the field, he's a monster around the rim, and he blocks shots. Only 2 blocks a game, which is down a little bit from his previous years, but that is just fine if it means he's not fouling out after 15 minutes, okay? This man needed to get his fouls down, and Thibodeau, a mix of Thibodeau, I should say, and him obviously working on it over the offseason, have finally gotten him to be the guy Knicks fans want. Now, he's still got some improvements to make. He's almost nothing on offense, but for his defense to finally be usable without him just fouling out of the game in 5 seconds, he's a big reason this Knicks defense has been so very good player around the rim, and just fun to watch. He still gets the occasional highlight block. Reggie Bullock's been decent, Elfrid Payton has been decent, Austin Rivers pretty solid off the bench. Kevin Knox has actually been pretty good this season. He has played all 14 games, and in those 14 games, he is shooting 44% from 3, I do believe. Yes, he is. 44% from 3 on 4 attempts a game. Now, I'm not going to lie to you. I don't believe for a second that Kevin Knox is going to keep up this shooting. It's just, I haven't seen him from him before. He's still only a 75% free throw shooter. He's still only shooting 43% from the field as a whole. I don't think Kevin Knox keeps up this shooting. But if he can shoot at least, above average from three slightly, he may actually be able to stay in the NBA for a few years instead of being an absolute garbage player, which everyone seemed to think he was, myself included, not gonna lie. He was shit the last few years. Once again, he's also been pretty solid on defense. Dude's looking good. The last guy I really care about talking about on this team is Emmanuel Quickley. I believe I said his name right. He's been pretty solid for a young guard. 10 points a game and 3 assists with only 1 turnover. The 3-to-1 turnover ratio is very nice to see from a young guard like him. I don't think he's like a crazy playmaker or anything, but it's nice that he is avoiding, constant turnover issues. Meanwhile, his field goal percentage is pretty sus. 40% from the field, 34% from 3. Those are not great numbers, but again, he's a rookie. Give him time. Young guards in general tend to struggle a little bit when they come into the NBA. But, Quickley's good. He's pretty good. He looks decently NBA ready. He just needs more time to get into it, so I have no issue with him being on that team. Sorry for that weird pause there. I heard somebody yelling outside. I'm like, what the heck is going on? So, the team overall is looking pretty good. Players are playing very well. Does that mean the Knicks are going to make the playoffs this year? No. No, they're not. Sorry, Knicks fans. Time to go back to roasting you now. But honestly not, because the Knicks have been good, and I think they're going to be a respectable-ish team throughout the season, alright? They are decent. Decent. A little bit below average, actually, so a little bit less than decent, but they're an okay team, certainly better than they've been the last few years. I don't believe they can keep this up, though. You look at the defense that they've been playing, they're playing really, really hard, harder than most teams do, and that's thanks to Thibodeau. But the thing is, we're still very early in the season. When we get 30, 40, 50 games into the year, are the Knicks still going to be playing this hard? When the losses keep piling up, even if they're not necessarily the worst team in the league, if they keep losing more than they're winning, are they still going to have this hustle? Are they still going to play this hard every single night? I just don't believe they will. I don't think that's who these players are, and ultimately, at some point, talent starts to matter, and while they've been decent on defense, mostly due to their hustle, they don't have great defensive talent. Julius Randle's not that good, okay? When Alec Burks and Obi Toppin come back, those players are both not good defenders. They're not going to make this team's defense better. They might improve the offense just a little bit, but the trade-off, I think, is going to make the same effect, alright? The team's going to get a little bit worse as the hustle goes down, the season drags on, and guys no longer care so very much about giving that 100% effort night in and night out. Because of this, I just can't see the Knicks really making the playoffs. You got some other teams that I think are going to improve throughout the year. The Hawks, the Heat, for instance, are both teams I fully expect to be ahead of the Knicks by later in the season, and I just think they're going to regress a little bit as the season goes on. I could definitely see them being like a 10th or an 11th seed in the East this year, but being as high as a top 8 seed, I just gotta be honest, I can't see it, and honestly, I could even see them falling as low as like the 13th or 14th seed. Not gonna lie, they could regress hard. Thibodeau has been a very sus coach ever since he came to the Timberwolves, and really even at the end of his Chicago tenure. I'm not sure these players, if they start losing, are going to respect him. They may lose it very fast, and the team may just regress really, really hard. Especially if guys like Obi Toppin come back, and there's issues with whether or not you want to play him over Julius Randle, because he's young and they play, kind of similar. You probably don't want him on the floor at the same time. I could just see many ways that this team regresses. Now, maybe they stay in the playoffs. Maybe they get it together a little more. Maybe, Burks comes back and Toppin come back and the offense improves and the defense manages to stay top 10. I just can't see it. That is just my personal opinion. Maybe they do, and maybe I'm proven wrong. I've said this before. It wouldn't be the first time I was wrong about something about basketball. But I just don't think that the Knicks are going to make the playoffs this year. I don't think they're a top 8 seed in the East. So, that is my take on the New York Knicks. I hope you all enjoyed. It was very weird to talk about this team without just mocking them the entire time. But, it was okay. Maybe this year is the start of the Knicks being a decent team once again in the NBA. So if you enjoyed this video, please like, please subscribe to my channel. Thank you so much for watching, and have a good one.